Okay, let's continue our discussion. We are now already at lab exercise number 14, where we will be discussing the upper extremity. So the upper extremity is composed of 64 bones altogether. So baka matakot kayo, you don't have to memorize 64 bones naman, no? Ibig sabihin lang nito, there are paired kasi we have a set on the left, we have the set on the right. Okay? So, the upper extremity is actually divided further into the shoulder girdle, the arm and the forearm, and the wrist and the hands. And yung three main divisions niya. So let's talk about them one by one by starting with the shoulder girdle. First, we have the scapula, also known as the shoulder bone. Ang role ng scapula is to connect the entire upper extremity to the trunk. Okay? The scapula or the shoulder blade connects the upper extremity to the trunk through what bone? By the clavicle only. So, nakakonect yung entire upper arm natin sa katawan natin only through the clavicle. Kasi dyan connected yung scapula natin. Okay? And this is, next is the clavicle, also known as the collarbones. And they are attached to the sternum naman. Okay? So, here is a representative image of our scapula, one posterior view and one anterior view. We also have here an image of our collarbones, no? And as mentioned, the collarbones connect to the sternum, specifically at the manubrium. Okay? The manubrium. So, next division is the arm and forearm. And here I presented you with the humerus. So, the bone found in the upper arm is called humerus. And there are different parts to the humerus, no? And I will only mention those which are very important. Actually, nilabel ko na lang din kung ano yung important. The first is the head. This rounded, large proximal portion here is called the head. It is then followed here by a very obvious line, a very obvious demarcation here called the anatomical head. The anatomical head. Other than that, we also have here another head called the surgical head. So, anong difference? Sa surgical head, yan daw yung part ng ating long bones or ating humerus that narrows down significantly as compared to the appearance of your epiphysis, no? Or the head and the neck. Next is the greater tubercle. When we say tubercle kasi, it only means bump. So, may bump, no? Ito yan. This big parang lateral extension here is the greater tubercle. And meron din actually here sa loob. Actually, if you will search it on the internet, there are images which you can where you can better appreciate the lesser tubercle. But again, it's only a bump. Ano bang functions ng tubercle natin? For muscle attachment. Muscle attachment. And in between the greater tubercle and the lesser tubercle is what we call the intertubercular sutures. The intertubercular sutures. Okay. What else should I discuss? We also have here the deltoid tuberosity. Ano ba yung deltoid tuberosity? So, kita natin, no, parang very straight and then eventually lumalaki siya dito and then balik na naman siya sa kanyang natural course. So, the deltoid tuberosity is a muscle attachment for the deltoid muscle. Kaya siya medyo naging protruded ng ganyan. It's because of the continuous action of the deltoid muscle. Again, we encounter epicondyle again. When we say epicondyle, bump lang din yan. Katulad ng tubercle. Okay? Bump lang sila for muscle attachment. And lastly, we have the capitulum. The capitulum is a ball-like articulating surface. So, yan yung nagko-connect doon sa ating radius and ulna. Okay? So, speaking of the radius and ulna, we will then discuss the forearm. First, I want to discuss the radius. And this is a lateral bone that articulates with the humerus through the capitulum. Okay? It is a lateral bone that articulates with the capitulum. And the medial part naman, which is quite longer, is the ulna, medial to the radius, and is a longer bone compared to the radius. Okay? So, yun lang ang ipapa-discuss ko for forearm. Next, we have here the wrist and the hands. So start with the carpals. Pag nasa kamay, carpals, kamay, carpals, carpals, kamay. Metacarpals naman are numbered from the first digit, which is the thumb, going medial. Kasi 'di ba sa anatomical position, the thumbs are lateral. So papunta ng medial yung direction. So from thumb, number 1, second is your pointing finger, third is the longest finger that you have, number 4 is the ring finger, and number 5 is the pinky. And the most distal parts of our hands are called the phalanges, which are also long bones. Okay? Now, let's talk about the carpals. The carpals is quite a complicated structure because it is composed of many different bones pa. So, how will you memorize this? Yung scaphoid, lunate, triquetrum, the pisiform, the trapezium, trapezoid, capitate, and hamate. So, here is the mnemonic. She looks too pretty. Try to catch her. Scaphoid, lunate, triquetrum, pisiform, trapezium, trapezoid, capitate, hamate. Okay? So, yun yung palatandaan ninyo, ha? And that's it for the upper extremity. Just a few more slides and we're done with the skeletal system. Stay tuned.